It's giving Jody, my Jody. And I'm talking about Drew Sidora, my Drew Sidora. Honey, I hate to hear this news. Of course, Drew is getting this divorce. She has to be out of the home that they have together, her and Ralph, by May 31st. She no longer has primary custody of her children unless I believe it's the summertime or something like that. And I think she could get them on the weekends and stuff throughout the school year because the children had too many absences and too many tardies. They also were not going to therapy as they were supposed to. I do believe she signed them up after the judge had to tell her again, like, hey, you need to sign them up for therapy. And she did, but they weren't going and meeting the therapist like they were supposed to. So that ended up being a violation. I do feel like in my personal, the judge is being a bit extreme by telling Drew she got to be out by May 31st. Okay, knowing that she has another child. So it appears that from what I'm understanding from the documents that I saw, primarily they're talking about the two younger kids, right? The kids that she shares with Ralph. I believe Ralph would get those children, whereas her oldest son would be able to go with her, right? And I just kind of feel like, Your Honor, you wasn't putting him out. And granted, I want to believe this is the same judge that's been on the same case the whole time, but it's like, Your Honor, you told him he got to go down there to that basement. And he was banished to the basement. And then now, because she wasn't getting the kids on time and the kids were in her primary custody, which is why Ralph is not held accountable for, the kids being tardy to school, not showing up to school, not going to therapy because she was the primary custodial parent. Now it has switched and he's the primary custodial parent. And so the judge is telling her she got to be out the house by May 31st. But it's like, I can't be banished to the basement. Your Honor, how you gonna tell me I gotta get out when you see this man make way more money than me? You see, I only bring in a piece of 12,000. I don't know if it's 12,000 a month or is it 12,000 a year. And I have to go back and double check that because I want to say because it has to be a year because how Ralph's pulled up, his pulled up about 70 some thousand. And I'm like, I don't believe Ralph is making 70 some thousand a month, is he? And maybe he is, okay? I don't know, but I gotta double check that because it's looking like that's what she makes. That's what she makes a month. Which is like around 12,000. And then and he may make 70. So let me double check that. All right, so I'm back. I had to double check that. So Ralph brings in, they're estimating over $70,000 a month, which means that Ralph would bring in about 800 and some $1,000 annually. I just got questions about that. Whereas Drew may be bringing in over 140,000 annually. And some in the milk ain't clean. Some of the milk is not clean, just a bit. However, that's what's going on. But either way, I just feel like, can she be banished down to the basement versus having to be out the house? Now, granted, child, if the roles will reverse, I ain't gonna hold you. I'd be like, Ralph, get your ass out. Okay. Okay. But child, she's over here asking the judge to reconsider. Okay. Reconsider this. I don't know if it's more so her asking about reconsidering the custody. We shall see. But more importantly, she's saying that she and her son will be homeless, if they are put out the house. So let me look into this because TMZ is reporting that Drew Sidora told a judge she doesn't have the funds to move out of the home she shares with estranged husband, Ralph Pittman, despite being ordered to vacate by next month. All right. Also saying the Bravo star says she doesn't have the financial resources, nor has she picked out a new home, which makes it hard to be out by May 31st. She said she and her oldest child will be homeless if the court doesn't reconsider the decision. All right. Drew said Ralph's income is 3 times hers. She also claims he agreed to share joint physical custody only to switch up his request to primary while they were in court. Okay. Ain't that something? She wasn't even trying to take full custody of the kids. She was only trying to do joint custody. And then this man switched up on her at the end of the last minute. And see, this reminds me of when she made the post. Matter of fact, I think I have it, where she kind of made a post, and I was telling y'all in that post, I felt like, damn, the way she's wording it sounds like she got played. And I was like, well, I don't know if Drew got played for sure. So I can't say Drew got played. I don't know. But the way that she wrote her statement kind of seemed like somebody may have played her. And that's what that was, like the switch up. You knew that I was going to give you joint custody. And then at the last minute, you switch up and ask for primary custody. So that right there makes me think Ralph may be a bit petty. And the times that she may have had somewhat of an agreement with him, like, hey, I got to go off and I got to do this or that, for work. Can you take the kids to school? Thinking that they probably did their jobs or something like that. I don't know. My assumption, right? He wasn't getting them off to school either, even though he was downstairs in the basement, because he also knew I'm not the primary parent. So this is going to affect you more than. So that's just real interesting. But this is what she said. She says, while certain things are beyond my control, my focus remains on showing up every day as the mother I can be. Living in the public eye comes with challenges, but I'm choosing to move forward with grace, growth, and intention. Right? That's something she said. She also said, I'm committed to leading with love, peace, and positivity. There is no ill intent towards anyone, just continued focus on healing, evolving, and becoming. So it was really the last portion when she was like, there's no ill intent towards anyone. When I was reading that, I was like, I don't know. It seemed like she may have been set up. And now we're seeing over here on TMZ that the girl was slick played. Okay. She was slick played because he switched his request up at the last minute. Wow. 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 Ain't that something? So we'll see what the judge is going to say. It's not like a final decision as of yet, although the judge did tell her, like, you got to be out by this date. The judge did not finalize anything yet, but it don't mean it wasn't about to come final next month. So we'll see. We shall see. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I refuse to believe that Drew is only making that much from Real Housewives of Atlanta. As long as she's been on this show and people have used her as a piece of a storyline, okay? And she, whether y'all like her or not, she's still giving y'all more of her life than Giselle has. Hello. And maintain her position on this show. I refuse to believe that from the movies that she's been booking, from being on Real Housewives and the residuals that she will get, whatever they are, and it may not be a lot of money, but still, I refuse to believe that. I would think, I just refuse. I think it could have been a little piece of plot, and I'm not gonna hold y'all. Just like when she sat up there and shut down that LLC. When she shut down that LLC that I guess he was managing of some sort, I think that she probably was an employee of her own LLC that she let somebody else manage and be in charge of, or whatever, to try and do something. Whatever the scheme was, I feel like it was a scheme. Okay. And unfortunately, the scheme is working against her at this time. But we do wish her the best of luck as she's trying to figure her stuff out. Now, what's interesting is Miss Pinky Cole over here looking at the Drew situation, baby, seeing the financials being released. She over here looking at her own situation with her bankruptcy and stuff. And Miss Pinky Cole said, Your Honor, come to the front. You're gonna bang that gavel. You understand? Your Honor, can you please file my paperwork, my financial paperwork, under seal for me? I'm just asking you to do this thing for me, Your Honor. Please file it under seal. All right. She says, I'm afraid that it's going to spread around the internet. It's going to spread around the internet, Your Honor. Okay. She says her Chapter 11 filings have already been used by content creators and written about by media outlets such as TMZ. Please, Your Honor, do not release my financial records like that. Okay, Pinky says she has a number of companies that she's required to file information on in the case. She complained about TMZ breaking the story about one of her creditors seizing one of her homes. The court ended up granting Pinky's request and pretty much gave her house back to her. And y'all know she had a lawsuit that was against her, like 71,000 or something, that ended up being dismissed for the time being. So they could bring it back at any moment. We'll have to see how that plays out for Pinky. But girl, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people that has gone to the judges, like the housewives, and have asked for records to be sealed, has not been granted what they wanted. So, Pinky, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think it's gonna happen. I feel like Candy asked for that. I believe Drew asked for that. I feel like it could have been somebody else that asked for that. Here, I feel like even Jeezy and Jenny Mybow asked for that. I feel like a lot of people that's asked for certain records to be sealed, majority of them have not been sealed. Have not been sealed at all. Okay. So I don't think I don't see it looking good in your favor, Miss Pinky, that these records be shut down, my love. Get ready for the people to dig in, because I do think they're going to be digging. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I hate that for you. I really, really do. Okay. But maybe you could use it as another teachable and educational moment, as you did when you made the post about the bankruptcy and stuff like that. Maybe get ready for your next social media post, your next parody, because the people gonna put it out there. And I'm so sorry. And I hate that too. I do. I hate that. I think Candy wanted all of her court records sealed, and the judge didn't. Nah, I didn't see that. That didn't happen. Okay, that did not happen. So we wish y'all the best of luck. I hate that y'all are going through this. Kelly got her situation going. I think she may owe the landlord some money or whatever. Baby, and we're gonna get into that Real Housewives of Atlanta review. So y'all be looking out for that. But Kelly, baby, child, ain't this crazy what's going over there, going on over there on Atlanta? Drew got financial issues. You got and going through a divorce. Pinky got the financial stuff. You got this woman over here, Kelly, having her issues. Who is next, child? Who is next? It's crazy, okay? Because it seemed like the divorces, at one point it seemed like a lot of people were getting divorced shortly after another. Now we at the financial situation. So who else gonna have financial problems? Mm-mm. I'm wishing the best for all the ladies. I feel like once you hit the bottom, you can only go up, child. If you go any lower, baby, you're gonna be dead. So we believe you only can go up from here. So best of luck to everybody. That's what's going on. I wanted to come back and talk about Drew Sidora because she's saying that she's going to be homeless. Whether she is or not, I do think Drew will be able, on her salary of what she makes, I feel like she will be able to find something for her and her husband. And matter of fact, Drew, while we talking about it, you remember when you sat in that confessional, and I love you down, but you remember when you sat in that confessional and you said, YouTube, is that like a job or something? Remember you said that? Well, guess what? It might need to be. It might need to be your second, third, fourth, fifth job, whichever one it falls down the line with. Because if you only making 12 racks a month, you might be able to do a YouTube channel and then you be making 24 a month. Okay. So best of luck. Okay. So maybe look into that. And just see. I had to remind you. So it can be a job if you want it to be. It can be a side hustle if you want it to be. Okay. Um, but that's what's going on. All right, with the ladies. But if I was Drew, I'd be saying the same thing though. Like, oh, your honor, like, oh yeah, boy, you got me down, you got me stressed out. Yeah, I ain't got nowhere for me and my kid to go. Help us. You gonna put me out there on the street like that, your honor? You gonna put me out there on the street? You'll do that to a wife, to a mother and a son? You'll do that? Yeah, we'll see how the judge is going to rule. All right. Either way, leave your thoughts and comments down below. I'm Jamie. That's me. I'll catch y'all in the next one, honey. Bye.
Yeah, family over fame in this bitch, yeah. The glory of living righteous is setting in. My street knowledge and education's a perfect blend. Young mogul, independent, I've been setting trends. The first one from my family to be faithfully wed. Fuck niggas and the horses that they riding on. I see this shit from all angles like a polygon. I'm never politicking the drama.